Pattern layers can be combined in multiple ways in Affinity Photo, and you can use blending modes to create some very interesting effects in Affinity Photo. So how to do this? One of the best ways to do it, go to Layer and New Pattern Layer. Just go with that, and it comes up with a default 32, which is not very much. I'm just going to go with 300, and I'm going to keep that for all of them, for all of the layers that I use. So 300 by 300, you could go with 400, 500, whatever you want. I'm going to go with brushes. Now I could use gradients, that's another option. You can't use shapes, unfortunately they're created on a new layer. So go over here, got here, brushes. So select the paintbrush tool and straight away you can see your paintbrush there. And I'm just going to set it to about 200. Don't want it as big as the actual pattern layer, so I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to apply it. So click and it's applied. Now this brush, I'll show you how to create it in a few minutes. So I've just applied it here and it's applied as a pattern layer. You can see over here in the layers panel, pattern. Well, what you can also do is you can go over here and you can just simply hold down the Alt Option key on the keyboard and duplicate this. So drag and then release. And you've got a lovely pattern there. That's one option. Another option will be to create another layer just via the layer and exactly the same as before. So layer and new pattern layer. Now you could, if you wish, create maybe 4 or 5 layers right at the start, so you can so they're completely empty, ready for use. That's another possibly good way of doing this, instead of creating them later on. But it'd be nice if there was a preset for this. It's just odd they've never included that. So click OK, and you've got exactly the same pattern, exactly the same position. But this time, I'm going to go and apply it as arrays, right just down the bottom. Now the reason I'm using pattern layers is because you think, oh, but you could do that with brushes. Unfortunately, brushes, for some weird reason, does not include the arrays. I mean, obviously you can do it other ways, but let's just go down here and arrays. So arrays for this top pattern. So now if I apply the brush, I'm just going to go over here, again, exactly the same, paintbrush tool, but this time let's go and reduce it down. I don't want it to be 200, I want it to be 150. So 150, and I can just click in the center, or anywhere of course. But I'm just going to click there, and straight away you can see what happens. It erases the pattern design below it. You think, well, that's not much use. That's pointless, in fact. Well, what you can do is you can go here to effects. Now I'm just going to select the move tool. Sometimes you find that when you've got the brush tool, it makes it very hard to select anything. So I'm just going to go to effects, click there, and now you could set it up with 3D maybe. So 3D, and you can see nothing. But the one you want to really do, outer shadow. So outer shadow, set the radius, and then you can see the effect there. Now another option, bevel, probably just go there, you can see you've got bevel effect. You need something that's outside, obviously, because what it does, it erases everything, literally everything that's below it. So things like the 3D, just nothing. There's nothing there at all, just straight through to the background. So you've got outer shadow and click close, and you can of course vary the settings here. Let's just go down here and change opacity and click close. Now if I duplicate this, what I can do, again, hold down the Alt Option key and I can drag and just duplicate it. Now you can see the design there. You can just, now you don't have to keep it, of course you can remove a layer at any point, just simply deselect it, apply it again maybe. So if you don't want that, you want that design, maybe you want to just cut it just slightly like that. It's another possible. But what you can also do is you can apply brush strokes that are actually smaller. So even smaller, multiple ones to this. So if you do, just simply click here, click there, and you of course click over the whole design, and you can create a nice dotted design there. Again, over there, maybe there, and you've got a dotted design. Well, you can create another pattern layer. Go to layer. Now, if you duplicate it, of course, you're going to get exactly the same design, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to go to layer, new pattern layer, again 300 by 300, and click OK. So you've got this pattern layer, again set it to arrays. Now there's nothing in it at the moment, As soon as you start adding any pixels to it, it will erase from below. And again, you do exactly the same. Let's just go and set the effects. You don't have to have anything there, doesn't matter. Click effects, go to outer shadow, and I'm just going to change those settings, and again put them about the middle and close. And now I can apply it. And this time you notice what happens, it actually erases the erase. Goes through, cuts through that. And of course you can vary the size. You don't have to go with that size, you just vary it, maybe make it bigger, and so on. And you can create a combination of different results using this. And of course you can also distort the design. So you don't need to keep it like that. You can distort it. You can use a variety of it. Now I'm not using the mirror, so if we just go up here to the move tool, you can obviously see there the result. You could use mirror. This case I'm not going to use that. So sometimes some of the deform you will hit a certain point where it goes over the seam. So I'm just going to go to filters, distort and deform. But you could use, if you wish, mirror, and it probably might look better. But I'm just going to distort these. So I'm just going to add some pins around here, just around the edge. Because unfortunately there's no layer, freeze or pin feature. All you can do is add your own. And then drag. And as you do that, you can see you can distort it. You can create these distortions. Anything you've added to that layer, not the other layers, will be distorted. And you can see as you do that, you get some nice warping effects. Click apply. And so on. But also, of course, you can always go and create another layer, and new pattern layer, 300. And this one's on top. And I'm just going to keep it blend mode of normal because I want the design to be shown. So again, go back here to paintbrush and you can see your design there, and maybe just click here. Click on top, maybe reduce it down again. Let's just go down there and I'm just going to put it there, close to that one, close to that one, close to that one, and so on. So you can build up multiple layers of designs. And of course, you could continue with this, erase, normal, erase, normal, and build up all kinds of three-dimensional depth pattern designs like this, sort of paper cutouts of weird designs. So you've got this. Once you're happy with everything, what you need to do is to go to layer, and let's just go down here to layer and merge visible. Now sometimes the result seems to happen like that, just suddenly slightly subtly changes, which I don't understand why. Very odd. Layer. There's also merge down. So merge down and the result will be different again. There is some like bit strange. I don't know. See, when you do the merge down, it actually blends it in with the other one and of course takes the erase. So it never ends up exactly in the way that you think it probably should. But I'm going with layer and merge visible. That's pretty reasonable. And that could be the end result. But again, you can always go and apply filters and maybe repeat, deform, and so on, and distort it. Or filters, distort, and deform, proper deform. How to create the brush? We'll just go over here to the ellipse tool, click the document and drag. Hold down the shift to create a circle. But I want some more circles, and I want them to be nicely coloured, that fit perfectly, harmoniously. Personally, I don't know which ones work with that, so I'm just going to use this, the colour panel over here, to find them. But before I do that, I need to set up a swatches palette. So swatches, you can find all of them in window menu. Go over here and I want to add a new palette. I don't want to add them to this one, so add application palette. So click there and I'm going to give it a name. Andrew's swatches. 1. Click OK and you've got a completely fresh one to work with. Then go to the colour, right side, and go down here, add coordinate swatch. And I'm going to go with tetric. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll have to undo. But I'll just go with that one, tetric. And you've got, yes, the 4 that I used. So I've got 4 of those, and they've all been added to that swatches. Now, I could, of course, set up a particular name for that. Well, now you've got the red, but I'm just going to apply, create another circle. Hold down the shift again to create a circle, and click there for the orange. Again, apply it again, and of course you can vary the size, make it small or big, up to you. And I'm going to go with the blue. So you've got a lovely, harmonious, coloured design there. And of course you can align it, simply select all of the shapes, go up here and just click and click. Once you've done that, you need to group them. So group them, Well, you don't have to, but I like to group them. It always seems to make it much easier. So layers panel, and you can see there, right click and group. Well, that design I want to save to the brushes. So go to the brushes panel over here, and you can see obviously I've got design here already, but I'm going to go over to this bit because it's selected. Right click and down to new brush from selection. You can't use that, typical. But what you can do is you can select that, and you think, oh, okay, brushes, now do it. Still not available. Quite frustrating. You need to rasterize it. Yes, it would be much nicer if you didn't have to do that, but that's the way it works. So with that, all that's selected, just go to layer, and I'm just going to rasterize it. So rasterize, and it's all turned into a pixel layer. Of course, removing the group. So if you want to still keep the group, I'd suggest duplicating the group, then rasterizing it. So you've got this rasterized design now. Now, luckily, all a bit of a workaround to get to it. Go to brushes, click there, and now you've got new brush from selection. So new brush from selection, and you can see some obviously slightly different from the previous one, 730. And you can manipulate the brush, of course. You can double click, and you can change the size. If you don't want 730, you want it slightly smaller, just change it. Also change spacing, maybe you want it like that. Rotation, as well as dynamics, maybe size jitter, and so on. You apply it all kinds of different ways. Click close, and there you have it, your brush, which you can then use in your pattern design.